Just this one red building on its own, and I'm going to frame it so that that red building is bang in the middle, and it really just stands out amongst this grey, white and blue landscape. Really simple, minimalist image. Today I'd like to talk about printing, making prints, selling prints, and how to price your prints. Now, I've always printed my work. I absolutely love printing work, and I'm a strong believer that an image isn't complete until it's in print. But saying that, not all images work well for print, and I don't know why this is, I can't articulate it. But every now and again you get one image that just works really well for print. Now, you will have to forgive me, because this is a tiny bit of a sales pitch for my print, but really it's not. I've struggled with selling prints in the past. I mean, I have dabbled and I have sold a few on eBay, but really it's nothing I've ever delved into properly. So I really want to take you through the process, especially the pricing, because one of the main reasons that I've never really sold prints in the past is because I had no idea how to price prints. And I've done a bit of research, and you know what I've found? There is no formula for pricing prints. It doesn't exist. You can go on one photographer's website and he'll be knocking out his prints for 20 quid each signed. Go on another photographer's website and he'll be knocking out prints for 100, 200, 300 pounds signed. There's just, it just doesn't make sense. So I'm going to take you through the whole journey of selling prints. So from choosing print, choosing the paper, and figuring out how much to price it for. So if I do this, I'm going to do it properly. I'm going to sell one image for a limited time only, and that time in this case will be 10 days. The image is going to be available in two sizes, medium and large, and it's going to be available in one finish only, which is going to be the best possible finish for this image. Every print sold is going to be signed and numbered, and once the 10 days is gone, that's it. This image will never be printed and sold again.
Hi John, how are you doing here?
So I've never liked the idea of outsourcing my prints, mainly because of quality control. It was last year that I decided to make a desktop calendar and sell it online, and I produced the calendar from a generic online website where you print your own calendar and that sort of stuff, and I must have sold this calendar to well over 100 people. And then when the calendars arrived, I was absolutely devastated because the quality was just awful. It was so bad, I ended up refunding all of these people. I think I must have spent about 4 hours on PayPal refunding everyone, and ended up chucking the calendars in the bin. It was an absolute nightmare. Luckily, my local print lab is really cool, and they've let me come in and oversee the entire process. It's really good of them because I'm very awkward and quite particular. As you can see, we've done lots and lots and lots of test prints. We've checked image quality, we've checked paper quality, print quality, we've reprocessed the image to suit the paper, we've done all kinds of tests. So it's really good that I'm able to oversee the process from start to finish, which you can't do by mass producing your prints from a generic online website. They're even letting me film this vlog in here. So Jeff, the lab technician or the lab manager, is about to send this file to print. Now, we're printing this big, printing this A1 size, so I'm a bit anxious, but honestly I think it'll look amazing. Let's have a go. Press print. Okay, so the big print's done. Big print is ready. Don't sneeze. Love that sound. So I really want to talk about paper and how important it is to get the correct paper for the correct image. So what I've gone for is a 310 GSM German etching. So the image itself has an almost painterly feel to it. It's a very bold image, it's very minimalist, and there's not much detail, which just lends itself so well to this paper. I mean, this is something I could never do on my printer at home. Another reason this paper works so well with this image is it's a very forgiving paper. Believe it or not, the quality of this image, if I'm being honest, isn't the best. Not because of anything I did, but because of the environment. I mean, you can see it was practically a blizzard, which meant there was a lot of snow hitting the front of my lens. So there are sort of softer areas where you can see the snow where it's melted on the glass. Now, with a finish like this, I don't know how, but this paper just lets me get away with that. I can't help but feel if it was on a super high gloss paper, it wouldn't work as well. It's absolutely stunning. So that's the print done. It's going to come in two sizes, as I mentioned, A1 and A3. This is the A3 version. Looks really good. The paper quality, just the snow almost looks 3D. It's absolutely, really happy. It's the perfect finish I was after for this paper. Now, as I mentioned before, I struggled with pricing because photography is it's an art, basically. Now, a lot of people, from what I've seen, tend to price their prints based purely on the cost of the paper, ink and shipping, and then they'll add a margin. You know, you're not selling a piece of paper and a bit of ink, you're selling a process, you're selling a piece of art, you know, the thought that's gone into it, the vision you had, the journey you went on to take the image. That's what you're selling. You're selling your years of expertise and knowledge, and the camera equipment. It's so expensive to take these pictures. So that's one thing you have to bear in mind, but how do you quantify that? That is a tricky question. Another thing to take into consideration is the work that's gone into it. Now, for this image, I had to get 3 flights, travel to Norway, withstand freezing temperatures and snowstorms, and then scout around taking the image. Now that has value, but there's no way I can include the cost of flights and hotel and everything, travel costs generally, into the price of the print, because nobody paid me, nobody requested that I go to Norway and make this image. I did that off my own back. So there's no way that I can include the time spent in Norway, the cost of the hotel, the cost of the flights, the cost of the car hire. I can't include that in pricing this print. So I have to come up with a different formula. So the big A1 print has a cost price of £76. It's quite expensive because the quality is so good. And then worldwide shipping is £14. That's a total of £90. Now, I am adding 70% to that cost price. That's going to mitigate any losses, any damages, anything that needs reprinting. It's also a good sustainable margin, and it means any money I make will allow me to reinvest that in my own photography. So I think as a standard thing, you know, I think 70% is a good margin. So that brings the price up to 153 with a 70% margin. Then you've got to think about value. Now, this print in particular that I'm selling is limited edition, and it's only going to have a run of 10 days. And when that 10 days is finished, that print is never ever going to be available again. Now, I'm not saying I'm the best or the most world most famous photographer or anything like that, but you know, I could die next week, and that might increase the value a bit. But in all seriousness, limited edition, signed and numbered, does have a value. How much value that has very much depends on the person selling it and the image. You know, is it a unique image? Is it a famous image? Are you a famous photographer? I'm not. So the value I give my print, signed, limited, numbered edition, is 30%. So that's 153 plus 30%, which brings the total up to £202. I'll round it down to 200. So that's everything including shipping, and that's how I've come up with the price. So it cost price plus shipping plus 70% to mitigate any loss or damages, and then an additional 30% because it's signed and a limited edition. Now that's just this print. It just so happens that this print is on a really expensive paper. You know, the next print, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do this all the time, so I don't know when the next time I sell a print will be. Probably in a few months, but you know, that whole process will start again. I'll have to find paper that works. It might be a cheaper paper. You know, I might have sold this print really well, although I'm not too sure, but you know, that 30% might go up to 50%. You know, I'd like to think that in a few years' time, that 30% will be 300%. Who knows? I don't know. And if you do want to buy this print, there's a link in the description below. You've got 10 days. And if 10 days has passed, well, I'm really sorry. But there'll be another one. Different print, different image. Yeah.